Alan Pan recently made a video called Giving Snakes Their Legs Back, but I didn't think his legs were very snake-like, so this is Giving Legs Their Snakes Back. I found a video from Akiyuki Brick Channel with a very interesting looking Lego tentacle assembly. It looks like it has quite a lot of motion and it only has 4 motors. Each motor controls a stage of the machine driving what is essentially a turntable, but with each motorised section set at 45 degrees. Based on the combination of each rotary section, the tentacle is able to do some quite interesting motions as it reconfigures itself. There are lots of other really great builds in this channel, so you should check it out. A similar mechanism has been used in the Rolls-Royce LiftSystem to thrust vector a jet engine, and you can check that article out on Wikipedia. I've built quite a few walking robots in the past, but I really like the way the tentacle moved, so this made me think about whether I could make robot legs that worked in a similar way, and how easy it would be to control them. I started with a simple CAD design and some simulated joints. Ideally, I want to put all the motors inside each segment and I want to use RC servos, so my sections are slightly more elongated than the original Lego build. I'm using these servos I've used in a few other projects. They're pretty hefty and they've got these metal brackets which makes it really easy to attach things to them. I've set up an Arduino Mega so I can control those servos. I've got some pots wired in so I can just position them for now by reading the analogues and driving the servos, and I'm using a 2S LiPo because the servos need at least 6 volts. So I've got the first servo attached to the base of the first stage of the tentacle. So that's attached by its horn, and that leaves the other piece attached to the servo to attach to the casing that will attach to the next segment. And that's just screwed on from the inside before I put the horn on the servo. The housing for that segment fixes onto that, and there's a piece built on the inside so the flat of the servo fits onto the flat of the housing. Now the plan was to screw that metal bracket on first, and then I left recesses in the bottom and the top so I could get to the screws to attach it to the servo. The only issue is once I've screwed the next section on, then I won't be able to get to those anymore because the orange piece is going to block it and I need to put it together in a specific order. So to help me with that, I've made a little shim that fits into this handy gap here on the bracket, and that means I can screw the housing on from the outside. So that now rotates quite nicely, and that leaves us with a nice piece at 45 degrees to stick the base on for the next section. So there it is in place. I've put a base on this to hold the whole thing stable as well for testing, and you can see that second servo moves. So if we put the next segment on, we can now see that we've got some quite interesting motions that we can make, even with just those 2 segments. So far I'm pretty happy with how this is working out. If I keep building this up in the same configuration, then we end up with a situation where the foot sticking out has quite a big overhang from the base of the robot. And that means that any force driven from the ground is going to skew all those motors and put extra load on them. So I'd much rather turn this stage around so the foot is directly above the shoulder and the force is driven directly into the joint. So for that reason I've made an alternative piece which has the slant going the other way to the screw holes, and that allows me to put the foot on the other way round. So now the foot is almost directly above the base of the robot, and now I can do all of these motions by moving all 3 segments. Now I've stuck at 3 segments because that's generally how robot dogs and things work, so that should allow us to have quite a good degree of freedom. And so far I'm not too unhappy with it. So it looks like I can move all around, and that should be okay to make a walking robot with any luck. However, if we try and sequence a walking motion, then it's a different story. It's actually very difficult indeed to pick the foot up and move it, and then basically move it back again with it touching the ground. So we've got 3 joints, the same as a robot dog, which can move in any direction in XYZ Cartesian coordinates, but with these 3 joints, we've got a lot of problems. Obviously my servos only move 180 degrees, but that's much more than the robot dog joints would move to achieve a better motion with the foot. So it looks like we've got some problems here. But before we carry on with that, it's time for a quick ad from the video's sponsor, which is JLC PCB. JLC PCB are at the forefront of the PCB manufacturing industry. JLC PCB provide a one-stop service for PCB design, PCB prototyping, PCB assembly and also 3D printing. It's easy to order from JLC PCB, just click on Instant Quote and upload a Gerber file. The JLC PCB website will show a preview of the board and then you can select various options for manufacturing. If you want the board assembled, then you can add a BOM and CPL file. JLC PCB currently have an offer where you can get 5 1 to 4 layer PCBs for just $2 with free SMT assembly. And with the new JLC PCB Parts Manager, you can check available stocks, order parts, or even request specific parts for your project. JLC PCB ships worldwide and they have fast build times, so you can get your PCBs in as little as 3 to 5 business days. JLC PCB also provide 3D printing services from as little as 7 cents per gram, so you can get enclosures and other parts manufactured in a variety of materials. 3D printing processes include SLA, MJF, SLM, FDM, and SLS in both plastics and metals. The ordering process is very easy at JLC PCB, so use the link in the description to this video to check it out now. So your typical robot dog has 3 joints. It moves this way on its hip, it's got a shoulder and it's got a knee. And with those 3 joints I can pretty much move that leg into any position I want to, and those joints are doing nothing like 180 degrees, they're probably not even moving 90 degrees. And then we use a system of inverse kinematics, which means that I can position the foot in any position I want to in XYZ Cartesian coordinates, essentially. And I can put that anywhere, and then we use maths using inverse trigonometry to work back all of the joint angles so that we can position those joints in the right position to achieve that position on the foot. And I've talked quite a lot about this in the build series. This is OpenDog 3, and there's, as the name would suggest, various other versions. This is a bit more complicated though. There's probably some positions I can't even achieve. For instance, I can't move this down directly very easily. I can try sort of twisting it, but I don't really achieve getting that end. It goes off in another rotary position, so working out inverse kinematics is going to be very hard, and there's going to be no solution for quite a lot of positions. So with this we need to be a bit cleverer. But I also realised they've been holding this wrong by trying to make this be completely upright, having this foot directly below the base. All these joints are at 45 degrees, so of course what we need to do is turn this base joint, where the whole thing rotates, to 45 degrees as well, so that the leg is more like this, and then this faces the ground, and this is 45 degrees, and all of these are 45 degrees. That does mean we've got quite a big overhang now, which is what I wanted to avoid, so I'm going to take this section out, turn it back round the other way, and turn the whole thing upright this way. So turning around that last segment, so all the segments are identical, we've now got something that looks a lot better. And if I run a sequence of motions on those, which I've just hackily put together, we can almost get a walking motion. So the foot will scrape along the ground to push the robot back, and then it will lift up and move again and pretty much clear the ground. Now we need to adjust some positions here, but that's looking pretty convincing to me. So I'm pretty happy with that. But obviously, to make a robot which is going to walk along, it needs more than 1 leg, so I better get printing. To make the robot really stable for this experiment, I'm going to be making 6 legs, so that means making 18 housings and 18 of those grey bases and all the other parts. But fortunately, I've got more than one 3D printer. So just a quick ad for my 3D printing sponsor. Thanks to Lolsbot for supporting my channel with 3D printers. And thanks to 3D Fuel for the filament for this project and lots of other projects, so check out my channel for more 3D printing projects and check out 3dfuel.com. Yes, I made 6 of them, which took quite some time, so that's 18 servos in total. And I've put these brackets on the top so I can attach each one onto a piece of 2040 extrusion to build up a structure to mount all 6 legs. I've got 3 legs on each side and some of these bridge brackets between them, and that means I've got something that fairly convincingly looks like a hexapod with all 6 legs, and it's pretty stable. So if I twiddle the knobs, we can see the first axis moves at 45 degrees, the second one moves parallel with the ground, and the last one moves at 45 degrees again. So trying to do this manually to try and make a walking motion is actually pretty tricky. I can just about pick up the foot and move it, and try and move it from one side to the other without scraping the ground, but really I need to spend some more time trying to sequence this to make a convincing motion. So first go at a bit of a sequence to try and lift up the foot and move it, which it does quite convincingly, although it makes quite big motions, so with the other feet taking steps as well, they're probably going to hit each other. So I've just sped that up a bit and also reduced the motion. So now we've got something where the foot tips back as it moves forward, and then it hits the ground again as the foot moves backwards to push the robot forwards. So pretty happy with how that looks so far. What we really need to do is wire in all of these and sequence them up and see if it'll hobble along. You'll notice one thing is that the foot won't stay parallel with the ground as it moves, and that's purely because it can't reach with this mechanism. So with some of the previous robots I've made, generally that servo and the mechanism is directly on the joints. So if I push this back, I can back drive the servo, and these are geared down 2-to-1 as well, so it will take the load. However, with this system, I can push down pretty hard on here and it doesn't back drive the servos, which is really good. So the robot's pretty big, the legs are quite long for the strength of those servos, and that's because we've got this rotary motion instead of the legs directly back driving the load of the servos on the load of the robot. So I fitted the battery onto the robot now and the Arduino, and also a whole lot of wires on a breakout board, and I made that on strip board to wire in all 18 servos and cascade all the power out. Yep, there's loads of wires, obviously 18, one for each servo and one for each joint. But if we sequence up a walking motion, it's not looking too bad. It took a while to get all of these legs coordinated. Some of them do the same thing and some of them move in the opposite direction, and then in the opposite direction again once they're on the other side of the robot. But that's looking pretty good to me. So it does hobble along. It reminds me a bit of a sloth, the way it moves its legs. I guess that might be the pointy feet. But we can see hopefully that the legs are lifting off the ground as it locomotes, and it's not doing a bad job there. Obviously those legs don't move in a straight line along the ground or when they pick up, and that's just because of these rotary motions and my inability to pretty much do any inverse kinematics or move the feet where I want. I'm pretty constrained by the structure of the robot here and the way these joints rotate. I did reduce the stride length here slightly so the legs don't hit each other, and also as they move in an arc it means the robot bobs up and down if the legs move too far. So that's not looking too bad, it's not looking too unstable, although it could be much better of course if it had inverse kinematics and those feet would move in a straight line along the grounds. For that reason it's also not the most efficient it could be at walking. You can actually see the legs look like they're slipping slightly as they move back, and that's because the front leg picks up and sort of catches the ground on the forward strokes. There's quite a lot of friction with the carpet. But you can see the legs are actually picking up and clearing the ground mostly, even though they're slipping back at the end of the backstroke. So I'm not too unhappy with how this has actually turned out. At least it functions. On a smooth floor it's actually a much better story. I guess there's less friction, so when legs are definitely pushing it forward, by pushing the legs back then it goes forward, and otherwise any slip on the legs pushing forward, any friction on that forward stroke, slides along the smooth ground a lot better. So that seems to work actually much better on a smooth surface than one with more friction, even though the feet are smooth. Now I've only coded it up to walk in a straight line. If I wanted it to turn on the spot properly then we really would need those inverse kinematics. And the way we would do it is to basically plot a circle from the centre of the robot, move the foot around the circle in whatever position we need to, and then work out the x and y coordinates from the old position and the new position, and use inverse kinematics, the ability to move those legs in x, y, z coordinates, to move the foot to the right place, and then move the legs off the ground in the opposite position and alternate them like walking and make it turn. So for now I'm not going to program it to try and turn on the spot or anything. It does walk in a slight arc, but that's due to there being friction on one side more than the other, and that's probably due to the fact the servo positions aren't the same between all of the servos, so they would all need calibrating if I were actually doing it properly, so one drags more than the other. Well, I took it for a walk in the garden and it doesn't seem too unhappy about that. Can't really see if it's picking its feet up or not, but it seems to work okay. I'm not too unhappy with that. I'm mainly impressed by how tiny these servos are relative to that mechanism and how big the machine's turned out and how it still works well. And that's all owing to this rotary mechanism and not putting the joints directly on the servo to back drive it or cause too much force. Of course now we can't move the legs where we want, so we can't walk properly, and it's probably useless for a manipulator as well to move a robot arm where you want. Of course it'd work better if we had lots and lots of these. I'm not sure how many you'd need to be able to solve every inverse kinematic position. Probably more than 5 I'd estimate though, or if you had a really long arm then it might be quite good. it might get quite wobbly. So I think there's definitely some potential here for the future which needs investigating. For now, I'm going to publish all the CAD and code as I usually do on my GitHub, and the link's in the description to this video. So if you'd like to support me through Patreon or YouTube channel membership, then those links are in the description as well. And patrons and YouTube channel members can get access to all the videos up to a week early, including sneak peeks and pictures of what's coming up, so you can be part of that discussion. Alright, that's all for now.